Imagine a machine weighing over 100 tons, firing 2-ton shells, capable of leveling an entire city. It sounds like science fiction, but this was real during World War II. Its name was Karl, and its story is filled with terror, logistical nightmares, and incredible destructive power. You'll see how this giant beast smashed concrete fortifications once considered impenetrable, and how hundreds of people had to work tirelessly for every single shot. But that's not all. We'll reveal the shocking and almost embarrassing details of operating this weapon, what happened when it got stuck on the battlefield, and the horrifying effects its fire had on anyone in its path. You'll learn why even the most experienced generals feared using Karl, the brutal efforts required to prepare it for battle, and how a single machine could change the course of entire engagements. And the most shocking details we'll save for last. Stay with us until the end to uncover the full truth about the most terrifying mortar of World War II, one that still captures the imagination today. During World War II, when tanks and aircraft defined the battlefield, Germany built a machine that was a symbol of raw, destructive power and engineering ambition. This colossal self-propelled mortar, known as the Karl-Gerät, was more than just artillery. It was a mobile emblem of fear. Its shells weighed 2 tons and could hit targets up to 4 kilometers away. For comparison, such shells could easily destroy a whole building or punch through concrete fortifications that had been considered impenetrable just a decade earlier. The mere presence of such a weapon on the battlefield exerted psychological pressure as powerful as its physical impact. Yet behind its terrifying appearance lay a paradox. Though technically self-propelled, Karl-Gerät's actual speed was painfully slow, no more than 6 kilometers per hour. On the battlefield, it moved more like a lumbering giant than a nimble weapon. This sluggishness required meticulous planning for every operation, and severely limited its use outside pre-prepared positions. The idea for such a colossal weapon came long before the war. In the 1930s, fortified lines like the French Maginot Line and the German Siegfried Line posed serious obstacles for advancing armies. Military planners poured huge resources into finding ways to overcome these defenses. Engineers focused on creating artillery systems capable of destroying fortified positions with just 1 or 2 shots. The German company Rheinmetall proposed a concept for a massive weapon that could be transported in sections and assembled on site. But transporting and assembling the weapon proved to be a true challenge. Its complex design and vulnerability made it almost useless on the battlefield. Engineers then turned to the idea of a self-propelled artillery unit. Under General Karl Becker, the project progressed, and the massive machine soon took on the name of the man behind its concept.
Karl was not just a big gun. Its chassis was massive, over 11 meters long, more than 3 meters wide, and about 4 meters high. At the top was a 600mm mortar, capable of firing heavy concrete piercing shells weighing more than 2 tons, along with lighter variants. The heavy shells could punch through several meters of concrete, or leave craters large enough to swallow a small building. Its horizontal traverse was limited to 4 degrees each way, while vertical elevation reached up to 70 degrees, making it a precise but slow instrument of destruction. To move this giant, engineers fitted its chassis with powerful gasoline or diesel engines, totaling over 500 horsepower. Even so, the 140-ton monster crawled forward at a crawl. Its armor protected the crew only from bullets and shrapnel, leaving it vulnerable to anti-tank weapons. Inside, every movement and shot required the coordinated effort of hundreds of people. This was not just a weapon, it was a full-scale operation. Moving the Karl-Gerät demanded careful strategic planning. It couldn't simply be relocated a few kilometers on the battlefield. For transport, it was partially disassembled and loaded onto special railway platforms using a 39-ton crane. Even after reaching a firing position, meticulous preparation was needed. The weight and size made it extremely sensitive to terrain, requiring leveled ground, communication lines, and anti-aircraft defenses.
Ammunition was transported on specially modified Panzer IV carriers, each holding 4 shells. These weren't just vehicles, they were essential elements of the logistical chain without which the mortar was useless. Its rate of fire was about 1 shot every 10 minutes, making every attack a carefully calculated action. Despite these challenges, Karl-Gerät saw combat. Its most famous operations included the siege of Sevastopol and the suppression of the Warsaw uprising. The 6 mortars produced proved the concept effective, destroying fortifications once deemed impregnable. Each shot caused massive destruction, and the machine's presence exerted as much psychological pressure as its firepower. After the war, the fates of these giants varied. Some were captured by American forces, including experimental units. Others fell into Soviet hands, while some disappeared entirely, leaving behind legend and mystery. The only surviving Karl-Gerät, Zio, now resides in the Tank Museum at Kubinka, where visitors can see the full scale of this engineering marvel. Karl-Gerät left its mark not only on military history, but also on the human imagination, as a symbol of ambition, daring engineering, and the limits of mobile artillery. It demonstrated that technical power can be awe-inspiring, yet its effectiveness depended entirely on logistics, preparation, and human discipline. In history, Karl stands not just as a machine, but as a majestic, terrifying giant, capable of altering battles with a single shot, yet demanding immense time, manpower, and coordination to operate. Every aspect of its existence, from engineering solutions to combat deployment, reveals the fine line between a brilliant idea and practical complexity. Even today, standing before this giant in a museum, one can grasp the sheer scale and ambition of its creation. Every bolt, every engine adjustment, every detail of suspension was calculated to ensure that this massive mortar could function, albeit with extraordinary effort. Karl-Gerät is a story of engineering audacity, of a monstrous creation that inspires both awe and fear. It is a tale of destruction, power, logistics, and human persistence, all embodied in one enormous metal monster. Its history reminds us that great ideas require not just boldness, but massive organization, planning, and coordinated teamwork to bring a wheeled giant to life. This unique combination of power, size, and fragile detail is what makes Karl-Gerät a true legend of World War II. Its 2-ton shells, slow but carefully prepared logistics,
and the hundreds of people required for operation highlight the complex web of decisions, coordination, and engineering behind every movement. This was not just a weapon, it was a symbol of its era, when grand projects were designed to change the course of war and leave an indelible mark on history.